After 7 intense years, the show that became a Netflix staple has finally reached its conclusion. You Season 5 brought the chilling story of Joe Goldberg to a close, and it didn't hold back. With 6 more murders added to his already horrifying tally, we witnessed the emotional, brutal end of one of TV's most complex characters. Breaking down the ending, exploring the symbolism, and seeing if Joe truly got what he deserved. Quick heads up, major spoilers ahead. Let's get into it. When it came to the ending of this season, I thought it was handled relatively appropriately. After moving back to New York City, the place where his story originally began, Joe set out to create the perfect ending for himself, even writing a novel that mirrored how he wanted his life to conclude. After the climactic penultimate episode, we saw Miriam return alongside Kate and Nadia, who Joe had trapped inside his infamous cage where he had committed multiple murders. Louise eventually rescued him from the blaze set by Maddie. However, Louise's true intention was to get a confession out of Joe for killing Beck, who turned out to have been her tutor at university. That's why Louise used the alias Bronte when she met Joe, drawing him into a relationship that she hoped would expose him. But things didn't go exactly as planned. Louise found herself questioning whether Joe could truly be a killer because she, like many others before her, was charmed by him. This whole interaction underlined just how powerful love could be as a weapon, something Joe used masterfully to manipulate those around him. Joe planned to run away with Louise, believing she accepted him for who he truly was, a killer. Throughout the series, Joe longed for someone who could embrace his true, dark self. He thought he had found that in Kate, especially after she asked him to kill her uncle. But when she later expressed deep regret about it, Joe realized she wasn't truly the one. With Louise, he believed he had found real acceptance. In the final episode, Louise planned to kill Joe while they lay together, unable to stomach any intimacy with him. Her conversation with Miriam in the previous episode helped ground her, reminding her of how Joe manipulated emotions to trap his victims, a moment that felt incredibly raw and powerful. When Louise held Joe at gunpoint, she forced him to remove parts of Beck's book, giving Beck her voice back after Joe had taken it by killing her. But then came another major moment. Joe received a call from Will and was connected to Henry, his son. Henry's voice mattered more to Joe than anything, and when Henry called him a monster for what he had done to his mother, it shattered Joe, completely confirming his greatest fear, that Henry would grow up to see him exactly as Joe saw his own abusive father. This realization drove Joe to attack Louise. The tension in that scene with the swinging lights and shadowy darkness was incredible. Louise managed to survive, faking her death to catch Joe off guard. With the police closing in, Joe, desperate and vulnerable, begged Louise to kill him. Alone, unloved, and exposed, he saw death as preferable to a lifetime of loneliness. Louise shot at him, but Joe survived. He was arrested and charged with the murders of Beck and Love Quinn, along with several others. The final scene showed Joe alone in his prison cell, stripped of all charm, reading the Executioner's Song, a novel about real-life killer Gary Gilmore, who embraced his death sentence rather than fighting it. For Joe Goldberg, death would have been easier. Living alone, haunted by his victims, with no love and no future, that was his true punishment. In a final chilling moment, Joe questioned why he still received love letters from admirers, despite everything he had done. He closed by saying, "Maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe it's you." The final word served as the last spoken line, perfectly underlining the show's message. The glamorization of charming monsters like Joe says something dark about society, too. I thought this was a really strong final season, definitely better than Season 4. It was nice going back to a full 10-episode run, no Part 1, Part 2 nonsense, and having the story end right where it began felt poetic. With Mooney's being incinerated, it truly marked the end of an era. The season was clearly split into 2 halves. First half, Joe's new, seemingly happy life. Second half, his past catching up to destroy his future. The music was outstanding, maybe the best score the show has had. One scene that stood out was from the first episode when Joe entered Mooney's basement. A romantic musical score turned haunting as he discovered the infamous glass box, reflecting his dual emotions, love for the people he trapped and horror over what he had done to them. Kate was much more relatable this season compared to season 4, and Louise was a fantastic addition. The twist that she was catfishing Joe was brilliant. Her slow realization that she had fallen for him despite knowing he was a monster added emotional weight. I loved the return of characters like Paco, Dottie, Ethan, Will, Schur, Carrie, and even Marion. The show honored its history, though I was a little disappointed we didn't get anything from Ellie, a key figure from season 2 who really deserved a final mention. Overall, You has been one of Netflix's best shows. It ended at the right time. 5 seasons was enough. And most importantly, it didn't let Joe walk away charming and misunderstood. It exposed him for what he truly was, a manipulative, broken serial killer. His final fate alone, unloved, forgotten, felt just right. And there you have it, the story of Joe Goldberg has finally come to an end. Thanks so much for watching.